Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the Who Would Have Thought podcast, episode 4. 4?
Yes.
We're here.
We're rocking and rolling.
We're on 4. Oh my gosh. Okay. Episode 4. Today's topic is a really good one. I feel like a lot of people can relate.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about careers. What do you do as a career? What do you do? Like, what's your journey as far as your job is concerned? And then pivoting, yes. Because sometimes a little pivot is necessary. Or you're made to pivot because you don't want to. You just end up pivoting by force.
Absolutely.
Yeah? And then how that applies to, being a Black girl. What is it like to work in this country when you look like us? All right, so where do we start?
Why look at me like that?
I feel like you have the most interesting journey, so I want to start with you.
No.
Why not? Mine is boring.
Let's do boring first.
Oh my God. Okay. So my career journey, if you guys don't know, this is going to expose a lot, so here we go. I originally went to college to be a lawyer. Yep, I was going to fight crime. I was going to put away the bad guys. I was ready. You can see that?
I can see it.
I
Especially see you in action. No, you're guilty.
Oh, I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, I feel like I probably use more lawyer skills in my actual education job than I anticipated. But I started, as a political science major. So I graduated from, Spelman College with a degree in political science. And then I was like, am I going to go to law school for 2 more years? Or do I need something to pay my bills now? And so I went with the latter. And I decided that, I need a job outside of college. So everybody I knew was like going to law school again for an additional 2 years. And I just didn't want to do that. I was kind of tired of school in the moment. So I decided to go and work for a company called Teach for America. And I became a teacher fresh out of college.
Somebody that said they worked for them. Right.
Really? Yeah, it's probably somebody you work well. It's not a lot of us that were like in Metro Atlanta, but I just so happened to be in the Metro Atlanta one. And basically they take random people off the street and make them teachers. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I think the people I was working with my first year were like lawyers. Like, one was a lawyer, decided to be a teacher. One was like an accountant, decided to be a teacher. Somebody else was like a manager at Walmart, decided to be a teacher. And so they put you in like high need schools and you go there and you teach. And they give you a 5-week program on how to teach. 5 whole weeks. When most of the teachers there were like veteran teachers that had been obviously master's degrees, bachelor's degrees in education. But had 5 weeks. 5.
You got emphasizing on your 5 weeks. At least you got some weeks.
Well, that's actually true.
Right.
Because you got none.
No.
That's not true. We did a whole Quinn boot camp. It was like at least 2 hours on the phone.
Thought that counted? Wow, baby.
Yes. I feel like I adequately prepared you for what you were getting yourself into.
Oh, great.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll get there.
I'm happy you feel that way.
We're going to get there.
I'm going to let you take it.
I adequately prepared you. You're welcome. And so then, so I did that, and then I taught for like 7 years, and then I became an assistant principal, and so my career journey is boring. It is just very like stair-stepped. I went from teacher to assistant.
You went from law to going from being a lawyer.
Aspiration,
whatever, but you have a criminal justice degree.
Political science.
Oh, see, there goes the correction. That's why you ain't supposed to be a lawyer. You're supposed to be right where you at.
Words matter. Just saying. And that is why I care about like little fine, minute details. So that's it. That's my career journey. So now to yours, because you actually have an interesting one. Tell us all about it.
Okay. So, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. This is going to all make sense.
Okay.
My mom told me they don't make no money. Don't do it.
She wasn't lying.
I didn't do it. I went to school, majored in architecture at Morgan State University, and then I realized that I didn't want to do that. It wasn't creative enough for me. There was just too many rules.
So that's why you know how to make everything from scratch.
No, that's not why.
Benches,
that's a whole
tables.
Here you go. That's a whole nother story for another day.
Lane
Anyway, I didn't
flooring.
interrupt you. Let me say my part.
Okay, go
My
ahead.
boring story.
It's not boring.
So, I then I have a degree with architecture, humanities, and social science. So, studying people became a thing. Didn't realize what pathway that was going to put me on. And I worked like 13 years in human resources, recruitment, in finance and tech. And then I am now a teacher. I skipped all that stuff in between.
Back up. We're gonna go back. So you worked 13 years.
Yep.
In finance, human resources, recruitment, and then all of a sudden, you became a teacher. How did that come about?
It wasn't all of a sudden. So so a little bit. I started in finance, technology at like a small recruiting firm, started the agency. Then I ended up going to like big banks like Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, New York Stock Exchange, and technology companies. And the last role, I worked at Amazon on the tech side for probably maybe about a little less than a month. And then I got a job with Meta. Then getting with Meta. So the reason why I left Amazon and went to Meta, because it was just like, it started out as a contract and they was going to do perm, but then it just boiled down to money. It always ends up to money. Always. So then the owner of Facebook, Meta,
that guy,
realized that the project that they were investing money into wasn't going to yield the revenue as expected. So I was part of the first 11,000 people that was let go in November of 2022. And then full year of me, like, I've never been laid off like that before, where it was just like I was given a package and all this other stuff. But then the hardest part of me trying to get back into it was like someone finally like was honest with me and was just like, you made too much money and no one's gonna pay you that money, especially in the state of Georgia. So I was just like, okay. So it's a big pill to swallow, and the whole time you was just like, you could come sub, and I spent a whole year running from it, like now.
Yep.
And when it came down to the wire, when my now boss interviewed me and offered me the job on the spot, I was shocked. I was like, oh, I spent the whole year trying to get a job in Licky. In one interview, they saw something in me and I got hired, which was very exciting.
Yay.
So it's just like, again, back to the wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid. Teacher as an adult. Still don't make no money, but
it's a work of heart.
It is definitely a work of heart. Like, it's definitely a work of heart.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still here doing it, because working in the industry I was working in for so long, it starts to be felt just a little bit redundant, because I was doing the same thing over and over again, just different companies called things the different things, but it's the same thing. The only thing I don't miss the corporate side, in the sense where I felt like I was always fighting to prove I was able to do it. And then with like a speckle of people knowingly, outwardly expressing that they know I could do it, but like a whole slew of people denying or not wanting to stay, I could do the work. Whereas now, the only person that's beating me up about whether I'm doing is good enough is me. Yep. So, yeah. So, it was just like, I didn't want to pivot. I was running from it, like I said, for a full year. And like a full year later, I got the job, easy, 1, 2, 3. And, yeah. I'm on this ride because you came here and bullied me into, now, if you don't want to do this, don't do this. That's what she said for 2 hours.
I
Listen,
consider that training.
That's not training.
Okay. It was professional development. I needed to scare you straight to make sure you were sure.
What's the song? I ain't never scared. You know how that doesn't scare me. No.
And that's the problem.
I'm sorry, I'll be scared.
I do though. Like, I mean, I advise it. Like, any person that has a college degree and is not making at least $50,000-$60,000, I always advise them to try teaching. Because while I can't promise you 6 figures in any time soon in the near future, I can promise you at least $50,000 to $60,000 for your degree. And when I tell you the amount of people I knew, just even, you know, coming out, like thinking about people who graduated with college degrees and then went to work clerical jobs, like being a secretary or something like that. Like, yeah, what are you making?
Hold on now.
$17 an hour.
Listen, no, ma'am. I have hired some people that have been what you call clerical secretaries, front desk, whatever, making mid six figures.
What? Where?
Anywhere.
Why don't we do that?
No, you don't want that because you become borderline a personal assistant.
I'm fine with that.
No, you're not.
I actually am.
Actually, you're not, because you don't. Everything you do, like, you have to end up sleep breathing even that person that you are supporting.
I'll do that. Do you have to live with them?
No.
Oh, okay.
But you're gonna feel like you live with them. You always on.
Oh no, I don't want to be always on. That's
you
the
always
thing.
on.
I appreciate work-life balance, and that's the other thing I love about education. It's stability, it's work-life balance, and it really is community service. Like, it really is service of the heart. Like, doctors do a great job. Obviously, you know, they help heal people and help people feel better. Lawyers do a good job because obviously if you're fighting for your freedom, there's nothing that's more important than your freedom, right? But we are training and we build all the other professions. You can't be a doctor, a lawyer, architect, a recruiter, anything without an education first. So we are the foundation. And that's why I wish sometimes people would give more credit to educators.
I just don't understand why educators don't get paid.
Me either. And I think if I could think of anything, I think it's because it's so stable. We've had this.
Go be a nurse.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
Let me go be a firefighter.
They don't make much either, though.
I mean, that must be a Georgia thing, because I know
Really?
quite a few firefighters.
Oh yeah, well, in New York, yeah, but yeah, in Georgia.
And I'm not talking about they fighting fires.
No, they just chilling.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the cost of living is different there. But you know, teachers in New York in some places make six figures.
Yes, absolutely.
But again, the cost of living is different. So when you put it in comparison,
Georgia's high.
Georgia's high cost of living?
Yes.
But not as high as New York, right?
It may not be as high, but we're inland. We have to bring everything in. Everything's expensive.
That's true.
So whoever thought that Georgia ain't cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It used to be, but it's not anymore.
Not anymore.
I knew somebody, though, that was a teacher in New York that made six figures. I was like, dang. Like, first year teaching?
I'm going back to New York to teach.
You can't.
Joke.
You gotta, you know, decide what you want. Do you want an affordable house and a nice place to live, or do you want to make a lot? Like, it's always something to juggle when you make decisions like that.
Yeah, I know when I came here, I was doing, both.
You were living the dream, Kareem.
Sure.
I know, it's okay. You still lived it.
I did.
Tell us all about it.
No.
What does it feel like to make six figures? Because I've not yet been there.
I don't know.
You know. Well, now that you're in education, do you do a job that you feel like brings you joy?
Absolutely.
Like, are you happy?
Definitely happy. I mean, I'm
every day.
I'm happy. No, so there's a big difference, right? Tired and happy will make you seem like you're not happy when you're really tired. So I would say, like, I am mentally more exhausted because being a teacher has so many moving parts, because it's not just about the kids, it's their kids' families. And then the expectation of people who are overseeing you. So it's just, you know, it's a lot.
Shout out to all the assistant principals and principals out there. You're doing a wonderful job. Okay.
Right. Absolutely.
Namely, you know, me.
Okay. I mean, I got the best boss out there.
Period. Me too.
So I mean, it is what it is.
Especially if she's watching this. Best boss ever.
See, I ain't had to preface that. I got the best one. There you go.
She knows me. She knows who she hired.
But yeah, I think that's just what it is. It's like, I feel more tired. I was tired before, but I was just like always on. What makes me more tired is because when you work in like the HR realm, you are trained to hear what's not being said, and children don't know how to communicate. So it's like a lot of nonverbal communication that you got to do and read through the lines. And imagine like last year what, at the end of the year, we had 28, 29 kids. Half of them were multilingual learners, didn't really speak that much English. And then the other half, Whereas this time is little ones, they just look at me like, and then then you have to deal with families. It's all personal.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So happy, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Joyful.
because I don't have to code switch anymore.
Let's speak about that. So, what is your definition of code switching?
Everything.
Okay.
Hi, how are you? How's your day going?
You do that at work.
I absolutely do not.
Really?
I do not.
Not even when you're like meeting parents? I 100% code switch even now.
That's interesting. No, I don't. Because there's no reason. Like, working amongst us, you don't even have to change. Where it's just like, and I'm not saying that you're not being professional. You're professional at all times.
Right.
But it's just kind of like, it's a, hi. How are you?
Saying that one part.
It's like very like
robotic.
Right.
I still do that.
Or if you're in a meeting with them, with the other people, you just have to like, hey, let's table that situation and we'll get right back.
I still do that.
We're in a meeting now, talking about, man, this candy looks so good. Hold on. But wait, is that the AKS? No, that wouldn't happen today. That's not what's going on. Everybody's laughing and talking. We're talking about something, but we're talking about candy.
Yes.
We're talking about AKS.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, oh goodness, it's
3 different things at one time.
Right, no. You are in a meeting and it is a board meeting and it's a vice president, director, principal, boss, everybody, God. And you're sitting there just kind of like, all right, I understand about the system implementation. So these are the steps that you're going to have to take before it comes down. And then we're going to have to, let's table this conversation and I will get back to you. And I have to give a specific date. In that moment, I will let you know by Thursday at 4 p.m.
I think the difference is with me being out of the classroom, that's what makes me have to code switch a little bit more. So like with my teachers, I'm a lot more relatable. Like, girl, what's tea? Like, what we got going on today? But then when I get with my boss or then with her boss, I'm back on. Yes, because, we're going to table this conversation. I'm saying the exact same thing. I'm like regurgitating, and I feel the need to in the board meeting when you're with the, the suits, the people who are in the suits, I do feel the need to be a little bit more professional, a little bit more and then, code switch.
And I'm just being a devil's advocate. Teachers are so protected, right?
Yes.
Whereas a lot of times when you're in a corporate setting and you're not under a union or anything like that, you are not protected. They, if they decide that they don't want to be bothered with you anymore, they got to do a couple things to your root and then you're out.
And see, that's the thing with like assistant principals and principals, you're not tenured. So like you're a year-to-year contract, whereas like teachers, once they get tenured, they're pretty much good. Like after you've had your 4th contract, you get tenure, but with assistant principals and principals, we're not tenured. We don't get tenure. So year-to-year, things can change. So you're always constantly on. So it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. I feel like I still code switch. I code switch with parents. But like I said, it's just constantly like I feel like I can sometimes let my guard down with certain teachers. But then I'm back on with the kids. I'm back on with the parents. I'm back on with the board members and the, higher ups and the suits. So it's a lot. What, like, as far as like code switching, what about like your image at work? Like, do you feel pressure as a Black woman to look a certain type of way at work?
I came in and I felt stuffy. And everybody's looking at me like, where's she going? Okay.
To education? Oh, because you were coming from corporate. So in corporate, did you feel pressure image-wise? Why? Like how? What kind of pressure?
When I first started, I had somebody, and I really liked her. She was cool. But what bothered me about some of the statements that she made was just kind of like there was one time I went on vacation. Now, we go and get our hair braided. It is not cheap.
Hello.
And typically, we go and get our hair braided couple days before our trip. I'm back a week from the trip and they were looking at me to go take my braids out. And I was like, what?
Did they say it?
Subliminally, like,
how?
Appearance wise, you have to, we go in front of different business people. So, appearance matters. Because then, think about it, you looking up and down at yourself like, I got on heels, I got on stockings, I got a dress on, my hair. It only makes you think about what they could potentially be talking about.
That is wild. I have never had anyone, and but like I said, I've been in education.
Mm-hmm.
I have had braids, I have had sew-ins, I have worn my hair natural. I've never heard or had anybody say anything about my hair.
I mean, before I had locks, I definitely had worn sew-ins, and I think I wore sew-ins more so because I was in that. Just think about it. If you Google a picture of people with Goldman Sachs,
yeah,
that's what you're around.
Yeah.
So legitimately, it's just kind of like you are looking at all of your clothes, your shoes, your bag, your coat, your winter coat, everything matters.
The pen you use matters.
Right.
It's like, don't be using no cheap pen. We are Goldman Sachs. We don't do that.
And I mean, like, even like if you're at your desk and you look at your team, and you know, there are times when I've been on teams where I didn't relate to any of them. There was nothing relatable. I had no work friends. I like, you know, there would be like people. It wasn't sad. I was okay with it.
Wow.
It was
I
just
couldn't imagine though.
Right, because being in education, everybody just ends up having a grand old time all the time.
Yep.
But it's just like, you know, there have been many times where I have, even though right now, like I may be I have been the oldest on the team before, but being in corporate and being the oldest on the team, it was just kind of like not relatable, not anything. Or like even at one time I was working at this company and this girl, Caucasian girl, she heard I had got my job when I was leaving Goldman Sachs and going over to New York Stock Exchange. And she pretty much was just like, what? How? Because she had been looking for a minute and she just couldn't believe like how. She's like, what, how? And then I guess she sat and had to think about it and then came back and apologized. I was like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that to you like that. I just had to look at her.
Yes, you did. You meant it.
You meant it. Like legit. So, you know, but that comes a part of like, how are you carrying yourself? You know what I mean? Like how you carry yourself, how you look, how you talk. And even if you're doing it proper, somebody's gonna look at you and, you know, judge you real bad.
I think I have been in a position. I worked at a school one time when I felt like I was the diversity hire. I was the diversity hire. And so you know you're the diversity hire when you're the only person at the table that looks like you. And then, you know, you on one hand, like you're proud because it's like, wow, you know, like I'm here, I made it, I'm at the table. But then on the other hand, you kind of feel like, dang, I'm only at the table because I'm Black. And then that starts to feel like
weird.
Did I get the job because I was good, or did I get the job because
checking the box?
Diversity, So sometimes that can make you question yourself too. And then, you know, I just kind of had to get to the point as to where I was just like, you know what? Two things can be true at one time. Maybe I'm the diversity hire and I'm good. And just kind of like accepting that. But now that I'm at a place where I don't feel like I'm the minority, I am still a minority, but not there. It feels good. You know, it's a difference and you feel a little bit more comfortable, and it feels good to see people that are in control and in power and in higher positions that look like you. You know what I mean? And I don't even know if I have any aspirations to go that high up, but it's good to know that if I did, there's people that look like me. There's people that look like me with braids. There's people that look like me with dress. There's people that look like me that code switch. There's people who, you know, don't. They just, you know, figure out a very, very happy medium between who they are and being professional, and it works for them. So it makes me feel a little bit better.
So what career challenges do you face?
Oh, God. How much time we got? My main career challenges these days are fights at school. But no, I would say, I think going back to like the tenure part, it is a career challenge because like I said, while education in of itself is very stable, not being in a tenured position, you kind of know that any one big mess up in your position or role can send you back to being a teacher in the classroom. And I've seen and known people that have had to make that transition back, like they've been demoted. So you still have the security of your education job, but it's at a lower, you know, position than you had before, and it can be humiliating and embarrassing. And I feel like that's always in the back of your mind. You know, you always sometimes you deal with parents that are like, you know, contentious. You have students that are contentious. You have teachers that are contentious. And then you never really get full support from the top because
Mm-hmm.
they're worried about CYA.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is below you, might be coming for you, and then you have to try to cover yourself. And so it's a very unprotected job. So I would
It's
say
protected but unprotected.
my education is protected.
Right.
My position is very unprotected.
Got it.
So I just feel really alone sometimes. Like if I make a bad choice or bad decision, like I got to be able to stand on it because nobody's really gonna have my back for real on it because everybody else is trying to protect themselves. You know what I mean? So it's a very unprotected job, and then of course a very thankless job on top of that. You know what I mean? Because from the teacher perspective, they're like, "Leave me alone. Why you always on my neck?" And then the students are like, "Leave me alone. You always on my neck." And then the parents are like, "Stop calling me." And so then that's my day. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, but you're just trying to manage people, manage
It's funny.
students.
I don't think it's thankless.
I do.
I promise you, I never got so many appreciation notes. And
But see, I did too as a teacher, not in the leadership role though. That's the difference when you transition. I think I felt like, even though we weren't paid very much, I felt very appreciated as a teacher. Probably like the most appreciated I've ever felt in any job. But as a leader, not so much. So, and I mean, I spend days, like part of my job and responsibilities at work is like teacher appreciation is one of my duties.
yeah.
So like I spend my days calendaring out what are we going to do every single month? What are we going to do for every holiday? What are we going to do for Teacher Appreciation Week? Like, are we going to get a food truck this year? Are we getting ice cream? Like, are we going to do a luncheon for them? Like, I spend time and days planning those things. But you know when Assistant Principal Appreciation Week is? During spring break. So I want you to think about every year is during spring break. So I want you to think about how many people remember to say, "Hey, you know what? You're a great assistant principal. I appreciate you." None. Nobody. Not the teachers, not the students, not the parents. So then you come back and it's just like, again, it's unprotected and sometimes just unappreciated. So I feel like that's my biggest challenge at work. It's just making a decision, standing on it, and knowing that you got to have your own back sometimes. And it's just, that's what makes me miss teaching sometimes.
That's interesting.
I felt a lot more protected as a teacher.
I only just miss the money.
I wish there was something we could do for you, but you know, unless you don't like move into leadership and be unprotected and unappreciated like me, come on over.
I mean, that's not even a wild side because look, I've been unprotected and unappreciated for so long.
It's true.
Yeah,
And that's a hard position to be in. But I will say, I've never felt like I had a more important job. So while that is a downside to it, I really, really do feel like my biggest job, and for my people who really get it, they get it, is to protect my teachers, protect my students. And even though the parents don't feel like I'm protecting them, I'm protecting them too. But I really do take that seriously. Like, it's really a supportive, like a service job. So I love it because while, like I said, while it can feel very thankless sometimes, you really, really do feel like you are making a difference. And even when somebody's not able to identify it, sometimes I'm able to identify, like, look how big that little one thing I did today made a difference in the grand scheme of the entire school. And that feels good because, you know, I'm just trying to get to heaven. So anything I can do to like give me like one little point on God's list, I'm here for it. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
If I gotta sacrifice and not be thanked, at least God, I know you're watching. God, right? Yes, He's watching.
Yes, you.
He told me.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's it. Like, what I mean is that, how do we feel about careers now?
They are what they are.
They are what they are.
They are what they are.
God, thank you for a career to be able to pay the bills and keep these lights on.
Praise God.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen.
Yes. Well, that's all we have for today
Yes.
on our topic about our career journeys.
Let us know what your career journey is.
Yes.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Give us some comments. Let's interact in the comment section.
Yes. And talk to us about your career journey. Is it boring like mine? Or are you a little bit more interesting like Miss Anique over here? Because, you know, some of us, everybody can't have such an interesting career journey. All right, so we appreciate y'all joining us for episode 4 of Who Would Have Thought.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.